So along that same, the one that you might make the case doesn't fit this is their collaboration with Alphabet slash Google on they're calling the intersection of agentic and physical AI, i.e. robots. Um, but I look at this and say, again, why is this core, right? What is important for NVIDIA? NVIDIA, I mean, and we've been watching the slow motion implosion of Intel over the last year, right? And we watch that and say that's the risk, right? There's a whole bunch of folks out there that right now in the investment community, in the broader non-tech world, that only own NVIDIA because of their stock. And they have very little conceptualization of what they do. And so I look at this as a smart play from a PR perspective. It's like, why are they doing this? Will NVIDIA chips have a role to play if robotics truly gets in this humanoid sort of space? Well, probably that's viable, but that isn't, to me anyway, what I read into this. This isn't the real thing. This is really about how do you get some splashy, fun tech, because nothing stirs the imagination, particularly of non-technical people, like a walking, talking robot, right? And so
Hmm.
I think having that sort of stuff out there is just good press, and it's a smart move to kind of pull it all together. And so I'm probably underplaying this. I know there's more meat on these bones, but I'm curious what your take was.
Yeah, I agree to some extent that you have to talk about the future, which is part of why NVIDIA was talking about robotics and quantum computing and the far-flung future, and showing that NVIDIA will be an important company for the rest of this half century at a minimum, showing that roadmap to 2050 and beyond. But I do think there's some practical aspects here about perhaps being able to better understand the physical world and creating an engine around that. I can see potential use cases for things like autonomous driving or field service or other areas where we're still having trouble computing or calculating the rules associated with interacting with the real world. If you could create a more model-based approach to be more flexible, perhaps it would be easier for some of these drones and trains and cars to get to where they're going. I think that part is cool. But also working with Disney research is always a fun idea as well. I think both because Disney obviously is a fun company, but they're also trying to practically bring a lot of this technology into their rides and into their commercial engagements as quickly as possible. I remember reading about a decade ago about how Disney Research was working on doing synthetic touch-based technologies so that you could feel what was happening based on air that was being blown towards you. So they're always thinking about these virtual and augmented reality use cases and how people and technology interact, because they are actually trying to build something out of it. So I think that is a fun practical use case for NVIDIA to be able to pull out over the next few years as Disney keeps pushing the envelope here.
Yeah, and look at it. Like I said, I think it's great. It's stuff that fires the imagination, and I love these kind of investments, particularly when they're done in partnership. They're done with companies that are already in these spaces, that are already doing things like Disney, like Google and DeepMind and what have
Mhm.
you. The thing I think that is interesting about it, and this is why I say it's more marketing than anything, is that I'm not convinced that when we get these, so maybe during the development stage, but when we get any of this technology into production, you're not necessarily going to need NVIDIA class chips to run them. At least I hope
Mhm.
not. And so, that's where it's a little bit of the, like I said, the kind of pomp and circumstance around it. But like I said, I think great theater and fun stuff and exciting stuff, right? It's all, very interesting to see where this all goes. And it's also, this is the stuff where Alphabet does, Google has always done well, sort of this moonshot stuff. The challenge for them has been how do you then productionize and actually bring something to market? But
Right.
um, that's another story. So